Okay, the recording has started. All right, got my push to talk enabled properly too. All right, so Chris, let me know what your character is. These guys are playing relatively low power characters at the moment, so I may put some restrictions on how many experience points you can spend. Let me know though, like what your core concept is, but I'm gonna do the math in here real quick.
Okay. Right now, all I've decided is Chaos Attack.
Oh, damn it. There's another one.
Yay, there's more of us now.
Well done. It only makes sense that it would go even more nuts.
Jeez.
Isn't this like, this is an opposing faction to you, right, Ed?
We're not. Yes, I'm not a strong fan of Chaos Text, so it'll be interesting.
Well, according to you, chaos doesn't exist.
That's correct.
So can you argue that they don't exist?
All right.
Like you, how they do.
They think that they're they think that they're chaotic, but I'm looking for statistical pattern.
So, who would like to do the retelling of the previous session to bring us up to speed?
I can try. Let's see. So we had secured papers and such to move about the camp, like the, I don't know what to call this, the underground casino of normal casino, because no one could really win if they wanted to. So we navigated that just fine up to the top layer where Vampire and Glowy Dude were not getting along very well at all. Right? Am I remembering that guy? He like had glowing scars all over his body or something?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so they were not getting along because he was doing stupid shit, and the Vampire Dude did not like him. He is a vampire forever now. So we found Ed's character and broke him out and kind of left and found the vampire, which didn't seem to care, but also seemed to be leading us into a trap, to which the Earth Druid trapped us in a room leading to a portal, or hallway, I guess. Upon approaching that portal, it was surrounded with guards and people being transformed in some way, or imbued with demonic magic, essentially, I guess, and a pit lord, and just lots and lots of portals with very pretty things on the other side. And we went to like the worst looking one, or I guess the second worst looking one. I think chains is better than raining fire. Like, we can debate that at some point, but I think chains is better than raining fire. But pretty flowers, we could have gone to pretty flowers. I'm just saying. So we the heavy group of us fought and tried to scare all of us, while a band of us ran through the portal, and it was closed behind us, leaving some behind. Most of which were dying, one of which managed to throw a bow through the portal and say some nonsense that no one understood except for one person, partially. Upon which we ended up in a chain craftsman location where everyone made chains, and they were the greatest. They were great chain builders, and they made things out of chains. And so we navigated all through that to some closet doorway that took us to I believe a stairworld. I don't know what the plane of infinite stair or something.
Infinite staircase.
The infinite staircase.
Is there a plane where they're just staring?
Infinite staring would be. But come on, there's got to be, right?
That'd be creepy as hell.
I think that's called the void.
So we went through there. We found the Explorers Guild, I believe, her faction, which is not a real faction. I'm still learning. So they helped us out a little bit. We navigated and found out that Ed's character, Tall, is that your name?
Tall, yeah.
Tall was trying to break into this guy's house the entire time. And we succeeded in doing so. And so I guess he had fulfilled his contract, and we were now in Sigil. And I think we ended with us kind of seeing the city. I don't think we went anywhere after that. Did I miss anything?
No, that sounds about right. You guys are standing on the balcony witnessing the city in the artist's house, while he is giving payment to Tal Al Sabil, your guide so far into this adventure. And Mara, the scholar from the Druid City, has started to break down and cry. Her magical sheet of paper that she uses to communicate with her home city falls from her hands down onto the floor.
I feel the most relatable at this moment, so I'll walk over and grab the paper or the book and try to hand it back to her and like console her, like bend down and.
She does not want to touch the paper right now. Looking upon it, there are words written on it. Magic Scrawl has sort of filled it. It's nothing new is being written right now, but the last thing that was written indicates that Felwyn managed to successfully teleport back to the Druid City using his magic. He was clutching Feist's head and part of her upper spine in his one remaining arm when he arrived. The wound that took his other arm and one of his legs are burning with a magical demonic fire that they can't extinguish, and the fire is progressing towards his heart. He has hours to live.
Well,
There was no sign of the zombie swashbuckler whatsoever.
And yeah, and the druid died already, so right, he was done.
The earth mage, who was not technically a druid, he was just an earth wizard. Yeah, he was torn in half while you were there watching.
yay.
Mara is despondent and just has completely lost hope. The artist who owns this mansion, who by the way has the faction seal of the Takers, comments, I know it's quite harsh, but you've been paid, so please leave.
I'll make an attempt to collect her.
She does not resist and just lets you guide her out.
Damn it! I was prepared to knock her unconscious for the fun of it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll walk her out. I'll continue to make attempts to like console her, but there's not much I can do because I'm pretty fucked up right now too. I just had to read about my like knights or whatever I'm calling it, masters.
Well, I thank him for his time, and I say if you have any other need of our expertise, you know where to contact us. And I guess I head towards the chorus.
He thanks you, says your reputation is well earned. And yeah, I'll keep your card on file.
I don't have any particular need to talk to that guy, but I am thirsty, so I'm going to drink a potion.
How many potions do you have left?
I thought we had done we rested for a little bit thing, so I'm pretty sure I'm full up.
I think you had a chance to restock at least one.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
want the
we'll do
effect to
another roll.
be quenching my thirst.
What dice does Uther have? Ed?
Oh, Uther only. Oh, Uther's not running at the moment. Give me a
Does he have? Does he only have D10s, or does he have like percentile or anything? I guess technically you can roll D10s, and that'll give you percentile.
Yeah, but you have to roll them separately because he sorts them.
Yeah.
I should be alive now.
As you know, I am a dwarf now. I need to quench my thirst quite often.
I need to find a smaller table of possibilities. Your clothing starts glowing.
Oh, cool.
Okay, I found a more reasonable one for next time. All right, so out on the streets, you're in the ladies' ward. The streets are broad. They're paved with marble in many places where people have not yet pried the valuable materials up. Generally, it's a very well-kept area. There's even trees that are regularly watered because weather is not really a thing here quite as much as it should be, although you do see some storm clouds up above you. Not directly above you, but on a section of the city that you can see miles away above you on the arc of the wheel here. This appears to be a street of several mansions, all similarly adorned, although each unique in its own way. Somewhat further up the street, you're briefly terrified to see something that looks very much like a pit fiend, except that it is about half the size of the one you faced previously, and whereas the one you faced previously was naked except for a loincloth made from some kind of horrifying horned goat monster, this one is wearing a pinstripe suit, carrying a briefcase, and is knocking on a door of one of the mansions.
That's still pretty horrifying.
I mean, it still has giant red bat wings and horns on its head.
The idea that it could be like a door-to-door salesman, though, is kind of scary.
It could be, although when the door is answered, the person who comes out seems to join it, and they begin walking up the street. Both are carrying briefcases, and Ed, you recognize one of them. He's not of your faction, but he hangs out with your faction a lot.
Who do I recognize him as?
He is a lawyer. He's a taker, not fraternity of order, so he's a lawyer for hire, and has less respect for the laws as laws and more treats them as tools with which to accomplish goals.
I mean, I treat the laws as tools with which to accomplish goals.
Yeah, true. His goal is to get people to pay him to be good at manipulating laws. Or good at being convincing when he argues about laws.
Fair enough.
You're not required to be fraternity of order to be a lawyer. That's
No,
Sly and I demonstrated that quite handily.
No, yeah. Actually, most of the fraternity of order aren't lawyers anyway. They're legislators or judges. They make for relatively poor lawyers because most of the time they just bore people with technicality.
And if they figure out that their client is actually guilty, they will generally do a very bad job arguing the case.
They'll generally just turn
just turn them in.
Just turn
yeah.
them in.
But yes, it appears that you've just seen a demon either hiring or meeting up with a lawyer that it has hired.
Well, that's okay by me. My main concern at this point is to get our primes to a safe place where they can take a little bit of get some food and basically take a bit of a break.
Well, the good news is you do have some coin with which to do that right now, as you were just recently paid. Here in the Ladies' Ward, things are a bit pricey, a bit upscale. As you leave the residential area, there are some very, very nice high-class restaurants. It's a cafe that also serves breakfast, as it's early morning. The smell of fresh pastries wafts on the air.
Yeah, I'll take people to to a relatively cheap working class kind of fraternity of order cafe near the courts. That's where I'm.
Okay. The courts are in the Ladies' Ward. It's not a huge walk. It takes you maybe an hour or two to get there. You do find a place relatively near the courts. This is the closer you get to the courts, the closer you are to places that are sort of for the courts. Like they cater to the courts. Bars that are primarily overrun by lawyers as patrons. There's a couple judges' bars too. Are you going to go to a place that primarily caters to lawyers or a place that primarily caters to judges?
The judges' places have more lively conversation from my perspective. I think the primes might not be super interested in that, so I'll take them to the lawyer.
Okay, and are you going to go to a restaurant or a cafe?
Just like a little cafe, someplace that's relatively cheap. I'm not going to a high class ladies' ward thing.
No full plainer breakfast. We're talking about just maybe a pastry and a hot drink. All right. So you guys sit down at a table. Yeah, a waitress comes out, slithering on her snake tail as she approaches. Um, she is a classic four-armed Naga, wearing an apron, and while two of her arms are apparently like mixing some kind of a drink, two of her other arms are opening a notepad and a pen and preparing to take your orders.
Is it breakfast time?
It is, very much so.
I'll just have a tea, I say. And then whatever they're having.
Of course, sugar. Her snaky speech can't avoid accentuating the S's, but she has tea in one of her hands, and cups rapidly come out of her apron onto the table. For the planers, you guys kind of know sort of what to expect here at a ladies' ward cafe, but the primes are at a bit of a loss. I'm sure tea is sort of familiar-ish, but the options of tea are broad and ridiculous sounding.
Do I know that he's paying, or is he paying?
I mean, I kind of offered, so you probably know.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna, if there's like a menu or whatever, I'm just gonna randomly point at something. Be like, yeah, one of those.
Chris, you've noticed at the cafe that you randomly have been just randomly happened by that somebody is offering to pay for other people's meals.
That's awesome.
I know, right?
I start pulling people in off the street to get free meals.
And a queue is being formed by some guy.
Only the primes. I'll only pay for the primes meals. I'm not offering for charity.
Oh, it looks like he's canceled the offer. What are you, anyway?
Oh, so can I be where'd he go? What is it? A Berlani? What is it? An Eladrin?
Oh, Eladrin?
Yeah.
I mean, the answer is going to be yes, but spell it so I can look it up and figure out what it is.
Okay. So Bralani.
Yeah, they're okay.
The Eladrin is Eladrin.
Elf-like fae people of Verlani. Verlani.
Yeah, looks fine.
So are these people no longer getting free food?
I still say that I should have got free food because he didn't say primes until after I ordered.
I'll pay for my party. I say that. I say that kind of like looking at you somewhat vicious.
I'd like to go to the kitchen and start cooking food for the people in line that are no longer getting free food.
Fortunately, not a lot of people formed in line as we are in the ladies' ward, and there's not a lot of poverty here. So the people who were disappointed are not like hanging about. They're just sort of wandering off. Oh, well, I'll buy my own. The tea is helping Mara to calm down, but she sort of is still looking around in shock, and she asks, like, how can we do anything? We're so far away. I don't even know how to get home to help.
That is a good. Well. We might be far away. We are at a place that could probably help a lot. With a little known thing as bureaucracy, if we find the right people, we can be able to find a possible legal cases for against the Beatazu. And if that doesn't work, we can always hop over to some lawful plane and put a bounty on the Pit Lord's head.
She snatches her magical page back from Loken and points at it and says, "He has hours. Hours."
I snap at how she just ripped it out of my hands, considering I would have handed it to her, and say, and she has just a head.
I say, well, if these things really can't be rushed, I mean, like, if it's an illegal invasion, then that's unfortunate, and we can sort of deal with that. But we have to go through the proper channels, of course.
I didn't have any allegiances to this lady or the person they're trying to save, so I'm just wondering what I got off of my random order.
Also, in general, I can't think of any case precedent in which Beatazu storming into a prime world and annihilating it was ruled illegal, except actually by anyone. The Tanari they've been involved in several illegal invasions, but that's primarily because they're Beatazu in the courts. And the Tanari don't seem to care about whether or not their invasion is legal. But Beatazu invasions are pretty much always legal, but by definition almost.
You're Loken's snapping at her, and his comment about the head has gotten her, like, just curl back into herself in sorrow.
It's good. I felt bad before until she did that.
I'm gonna sit down at the table and start eating off of Loken's plate.
Welcome, friend.
Oh, hello.
What brings you to the ladies' ward?
Lady took his paper, so I'm taking his food.
Well, that, I guess, seems fair. I guess.
If he's taking stuff, I'm just going to be like, well, then you can have my drink, and hand him a potion.
Excellent, thank you. I'll drink it.
And I will look up what it does. Huh. You've gained resistance to poison and psychic damage.
Oh, my potions are always beneficial, it seems.
Well, in any case, this is a glooming conversation. Let's change it into something a bit more cheery. So now that you're all here, you should probably sort of get your bearings and figure out what it is that you want to do. Yeah, you'll need a job at some point, of course. There's always work at the courts, and I could probably help you get in. Going home is probably not a very good option at this point, being that your world, as far as I can tell, has been invaded by demons. Devils, I guess. And demons. Actually, they're both there. So you're hipped here with me, and it's a big place, and it's okay. I was there once. I was an immigrant to the Outer Plains. It's very confusing. I came from further away than you guys, so it was pretty confusing. But all of you guys, you look like you've got worms, so I'm sure that we'll be very, very, very successful at it.
What? Worms?
Worms. You got worms. I tap on my head. Worms.
I'm now checking my head.
Brains, smarts.
I'm
You got
seeing
worms.
I'm seeing if I have like stuff in my hair.
The whole wide multiverse is now open to you guys. You've been stranded in the faith mines for a really long time, and now you're here, and you can really get to the bottom of things, and make a name for yourself. There's been primes that have been very successful, uh, uh, blown up in entire sections of the multiverse.
Meryl
Really,
looks
you
up and says, getting to the bottom of things. We could do that, couldn't we? We could find out why they're invading our world. Maybe we could find a cure for this demon fire.
You could do that. You could do that.
As a planer, you know that like cures for demon fire are sold in the Great Bazaar.
Right.
They're not cheap, but yeah.
I mean, what is the demon fire? Is like somebody being burned by hellfire, basically, or something.
Yeah. So in her letter, the one of the guys that was with you at the fight with the pit lord, um, after you left, he apparently was trying to rescue the other people, or at least get their remains out, and he burned. It burned off one of his arms and one of his legs, and the fire is moving towards his heart. In a few hours, it will reach his heart and kill him unless it stops. And here in the plains, that's a relatively trivial problem that would be solved by a trip down to the local chemist. On a prime world, they just don't have the medicine.
I see. He's being burned by. I gotcha. It's very, very somewhat confusing. My uncle's immune to fire. I'm mostly immune. But got a little bit of that water in me. Um, I mean, we could go to the bazaar and you could just buy a cure. I mean, they do sell that stuff there. I mean,
Her eyes are starting to light back up again.
I don't know how we would get it back there, but I mean, if you're looking for cure to demon fire, I mean that's not a complicated thing. Usually, it's the fact that if you're burning from demon fire and you need the cure to demon fire, the main problem you have is that there are usually demons present.
She screws up her face in thought for a second and says, "We can't go back the way we came, but how did you get to our world to begin with?"
I came through an archway in a broken down tower full of raccoons, as far as I can.
The strange tree. I know that. I know that place.
I mean, there's a squirrel that knows, I guess, knows how to get in and out. He was there, Ratosk.
Can we get this potion to the Ratask? Your
I mean, we
squirrel
could.
friend.
I mean, we could do that. He's not really my squirrel friend. I only really had a short
Is he your
conversation
pet?
with him. we've met. I mean, I really only spent a brief period with him. I pull out my scrolls and thumb through a book and my journal, and I'm like, yeah, I've got like 25 pages relevant to the squirrel. So I don't really know him very well, but I know his kind. They live in Yggdrasil.
How quickly can we get this potion and take it to Yggdrasil?
Well, that really depends on yeah. It depends on how it depends on how focused you are, I guess.
She turns to Loken, says, I am sorry about Feist. I genuinely am. But I do think we might be able to save Felwyn. Are you with me?
At this point, I don't even know.
I'm with you.
I think I'm actually saying that. um, this, I am saying this. This is all so insane. I'm happy to help you get as far back, but I don't even know if I want to go back at this point.
Distances are so kind of complicated out here. We can either try and find I'm sure there's some sort of access to the world tree from around here. I don't know the portals myself, but I'm sure we can find someone. Traveling by foot, as they say, is a bit complicated here. Distances really don't mean the same thing. It's very confusing. It's confusing in your world as well. I don't really understand how you get anywhere in that place. You just walk until you arrive. It's so strange. Out here, anyway, if you want to get to Yggdrasil, you need to basically believe that you're heading to Yggdrasil. And the more you believe in the kinds of things that Yggdrasil believes, the faster you get. Also very confusing. In my plane, if you want, in my world, if you want to get to the elemental plane of fire, you just make yourself more fire. Simple, straightforward, no problems, no confusion.
Immolation. It's the fastest way to travel.
And we still have to talk about the first problem of the cost of the demon fire cure.
I mean, I should point out these are technically devils. Calling them demons is somewhat of a, faux pas, if I might.
Wouldn't want to insult them.
Well, I mean, you can insult them, but calling them a devil or calling a devil a demon is more than just an insult.
They're invading my world. I'm not concerned with insulting them. She's getting a little bit fired up now. She downs her tea and stands up, ready to go. And as she sort of takes her action pose, you realize just how frail and incapable she is. She is a scholar, which can be very powerful in the planes, except that currently she's a scholar of lots of things that have nothing to do with anything out here.
I'm also a scholar.
Is anyone else going to help her?
Oh, I mean, I just follow the party.
Well, one of the things there's several things that need to get done. If we need to go to the bazaar, we need to head to which district was it again?
Well, I mean, the entire ward that it's in is called the Market Ward. The Bazaar basically is the Market Ward.
I mean, if you want to go to the Great Bazaar, I can take you to the Great Bazaar. It's a pretty. I mean, it's like an open. It's like a market. It's the market basically. We'll need to hire a guide if we're going to find anything that we want. If you want to go to the Great Bazaar to buy something, it's not a problem. If you're going to there to buy something specific, usually you need a guide.
Also, if you're going there on foot, it's about a 2 days journey. You're going to want to find a shortcut or pay for a ride.
Yes. I wonder if there is a shortcut nearby.
Is it on the like other side of the ring from us?
No, but I have scaled up the size of the city for the purposes of this campaign. Um, the city is essentially getting to the opposite side of the ring is like a 1 week journey.
So it's like across the donut versus above or below us.
Yeah, going from one side, like the Fenway is like a 1 day trip. So I guess it'd be like a 5 day trip to go from one side to the other, maximum distance possible. This one is not maximum distance possible. You're actually fairly close to the Market Ward. You can maybe do it in a day. The person she's trying to save would be dead long before you got there if you just walk. She is also having trouble grasping the scale of what's going on.
Yeah. Character's my name. Belial will just like finish his tea, like sit down and be like, "Excuse me, waitress.
Yes, honey?
My friend over here needs to urgently go to the bazaar. Do you know of anyone that might know of a quick way there? You know, you hear things."
Make a connections roll. Wait, was that your connections roll?
Yeah, I only have one dice in connections.
Okay. Says, I haven't heard anything recently, but there's always folks looking to make some coin when one opens up. I'm sure if you ask around, you can find something.
Of course.
How far is my faction? The Chaos it takes.
That is an interesting question, and the answer is not always the same.
Of course.
If you want to go looking for like members of your faction or something, you can go do that.
Yeah, I could try.
Okay. So you just wander off and begin wandering the streets randomly. I'm not sure whether or not your party notices.
That's
I
fine.
notice and don't mention it.
Yes, we should check out, like, maybe we should go onto the streets and try to find a broker, someone that might know, to be able to do some deals at getting us to the czar sooner than the.
Well, it's the courts, so I just head out in front of the courts. I look for a little tout, and I give him some. I just give him some, like. Well, I find a tout, and then I see whether it's demonic, and if it isn't, then I'll give him a silver coin. Otherwise, I'll give him a handful of coppers.
Okay. You find a tout, and yeah, he's not demonic. Looks actually to be possibly Ganassi, like air based. So not too far from your own home kind of thing, but a young kid.
Ah, brother, how is it going? Let's. We're looking for a demon fire cure for the demon fire, and you burn like a cigarette, that thing. So we're trying to just get something that cures that in the Great Bazaar. So here's a stinger, and there's another in it for you if you once we arrive. Trying to get this taken care of as quickly as possible.
Okay. Your stinger will buy you an extra success. Go ahead and make a resources check.
It's a great question. What is my It's not great. Nice.
He says, "Of course I know a feller, but he's going to have some extra costs." His hand is still out with the stinger resting comfortably in it, but it looks so lonely, that single coin.
I look at the sad puppy dog eyes of the primes, and I give him another coin.
His fist closes around it and says, "Of course, Gov. Now, are you looking for a healer, or are you looking for a place to shop?"
Place to shop, I think, unless the healer wants to go to the prime. And then I kind of whisper under my breath to him. I was like, I would not advise it.
He gives you a nod and a wink, says, "Right this way, Gov," and begins leading you and or a portion of your group, considering one of your chaos attacks has wandered off. He seems to have been replaced by a new one, though. And to be perfectly honest, given the random shape-shifting, you're not entirely sure at this point that this is the new one.
I'm not terribly concerned about it. In my experience, chaos techs seem to come and go as like weather conditions, so I'm sure they'll be back at the least opportune time.
Even the alleyways in the ladies' ward are posh. And while this particular one does have a gruff-looking thug standing in it, his boots are well shined. His jacket is in immaculate condition. Well-groomed thugs are an important part of a high-class alleyway. But he is not here to rob. He is merely here to make sure he extracts his toll. The tout takes one of the silvers that you've given him and hands it to the thug as his payment. And the guy very secretively takes something out of his pocket, keeps it hidden in between his two palms of his hands, and passes it into a little archway formed by a street lamp that has some vines growing over it connecting to the wall of the alley. In this brief arch created by these entanglement of elements, a light flickers and flares and a portal opens. The planers in the group, you could see the portal before it opened, but you couldn't see through it. But now that it is open, you do see quite a bit of noise and bustle on the other side. Stepping through the portal, you find yourself in the market ward. And busy is it ever. Carts are racing up and down the streets, nearly colliding into each other at all times, and yet never stopping, never actually colliding, always on their way to the next deal, the next delivery. Huge barrels of all manner of things, strange runes carved onto them, bushels of both common and exotic items, cages with rare creatures, and of course, everywhere, the smell of cooking food. Markets do not run on empty stomachs.
So here we are in the market ward. Welcome, welcome. It's the greatest market in the multiverse, really. Though the Grand Bazaar in the City of Brass is pretty good. That said, you can't buy a ship in the City of Brass. It's on fire most of the time, so there's several things that just don't keep very well there. But here, if you want to buy a galleon, I'm sure there's someone that has one, just in their market stall.
As he casually gestures in the air, you see a galleon. It's not flying in the air, as one might expect, given all the ridiculous wonders you've seen. It's just parked. It has a price tag on it.
But here we're looking for Demon Cure, I suppose.
The tout is still with you, and he sort of weaves you through. He's getting some dirty looks from some Bariar. Bariar are these, and you're seeing them all over the place. They're these goat people. They're like centaurs, but goats instead of horses. Four-legged. And you notice that they all seem to have a similar, like, sort of tattoo on their fur, like a marking. You're not sure exactly how they got it, because it seems to pierce both skin and fur alike, but it's in a pattern that the planers recognize. These guys are Free League. And then from time to time you see non-Bariar also wearing this symbol. Many of the merchants wear it as well. Many others are takers and just really all factions mixed in here. Eventually, the tout leaves you at the entrance to a kind of a... This area is like an open-air market, tents lining everything. Vendors are very cautious to make sure their tent security is good, but they also watch each other's backs. They work together. But these tents are filled with barrels, jars, and jugs of liquids. Also hanging herbs and things. This is the sort of healer's alley within the market. Alley is the wrong term for it, of course, but that's still what they call it. It is a pathway with tents on either side, all of which are selling various cures to various things. Looking back and forth, Mara is not sure what to get.
Well, you seem to have a better idea about what exactly is happening. So I'd say talk to one of the friendly goat people and see if they can help you. They are friendly as long as you're willing to pay. Most of the time.
She looks through her pockets, finding little in the way of real currency, but she does have some physical objects to trade.
Yeah, Symbol will follow beside her. Uh, Not everything can be physical. Just has to be physical currency. Depends on what type of person you get talked to.
Also, keep in mind you have things from the prime material. Some of the things that you have in your possession, which might seem to be mundane, may be extremely valuable here. I mean, that piece of paper you have, by the way, oh, that's extraordinarily powerful. I mean, you potentially need two pieces of paper somebody might just want a pen pal on another plane of existence.
She says, but I can't give up my only way to communicate with home.
That's fair.
She takes off her cloak, though. You recognize immediately as she takes it off that this is a magical thing, as she suddenly becomes much brighter and more visible when she's not wearing it. This cloak has been dimming her reality this whole time, and you hadn't even noticed. She says, I can trade this for a cure, but I can't trade it for information and a cure. I only have the one cloak.
Well, do not worry. I am pretty good with bargains. I should be able to help find a way where it makes all parties mutually benefit.
All right, I'll trust you. And she hands you the cloak. Says, we need the cure, whatever it may be.
And let us head to the nearest vendor because the guy.
Okay. Meanwhile, and you can go ahead and make your trade roll, and we'll get back to that. Meanwhile, Max, you wander down some alleys. You end up going through some portals. They don't take you to other planes. They take you to different parts of the city. They seem to open at random because it's you. And you find yourself in an alley with some interesting people. They seem to also be kind of chaotic. They're painting weird shapes on a wall. If you weren't a Chaositech, it would hurt the eyes to look at the shapes. Because you are, however, they're quite pleasing.
Cool, what race am I?
You haven't changed because you haven't been shifting realities. You've just been sort of teleporting around the city.
I tell them, hello, brothers. I come seeking chaos.
One of them turns. He's an elf, briefly, and then he's something else. A wisp of sulfur, the sparkle of wine. He's both standing and seated. A bald man with wildly erratic hair. As he strokes the beard on his clean-shaven chin, he comments, of you, bit of namer, yes?
A namer? I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of factions standing.
Path of the Start. Chaos Wanting. You four, with.
Yep. Try to spread that chaos. I see that even your speak is chaotic.
His speech starts to sort of align itself in your head, but he still is saying his words out of order. But you start to kind of grasp what he's talking about. As he crawls out of your sack with a potion in hand, he says, again, out of order, but your mind assembles it. He says, randomness is not chaos.
How's randomness not chaos?
He tosses the potion into the air. It turns into a bird, which lands on his finger. The bird takes a bite out of his finger and keeps eating until the bird has grown, and then the bird is him. He says, chaos is the unexpected. Randomness can be predicted.
I guess that's true. How would I go about upgrading my potions to where they'd be even as they would be as true chaos?
The most chaotic thing a chaotic man can do is to become ordered. Master the potions so that you are in control, then make them unpredictable. Make them unexpected.
I never thought about it that way.
When collapse you choose the time reality. His words start falling apart in your head again as he stands back up and resumes painting. Or should I say she, because it's a woman now. With snakes for hair, each of which is eating an apple.
So, is there like so whatever the nearest road is, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take my bag and like tie I'm assuming it has some kind of a drawstring around like a random post on the outside of the like a carriage passing by, like on the road, and then once that's secured, I'm gonna jump inside the bag and go, into my laboratory. Not
Okay?
sure how I go about crafting potions that I have control of, but they're also chaotic. But I guess I get to working on that.
Alright. Do you have a skill? Do you have any skill in crafting?
Uh, yeah, I have 2 in crafting and 2 in labor.
I do also notice you have the talent of alchemy.
Yeah.
So yes, you can make a crafting plus focus check to try to make a potion design. You're not actually making the potion yet. You're just going to try and actually plan out what the potion should be based on what you want it to do. So first, you're going to tell me what you want the potion to be able to do, and then you're telling me the result of the roll.
My savant is alchemy. Does that give me like a lower threshold?
No, that just let you take alchemy without paying any points for it.
Oh.
Chris, are you still with the main party?
Yes.
Cool.
Does my workshop give me pips?
Yes, it does. 6.
Oh, okay. Four successes.
What is it you want the potion to be able to do?
I guess bring about controlled chaos.
Describe an effect for me. I'm very much getting a concentrated beam of chaos vibe. If Ed, if you remember that,
I do.
Dear God.
I think Chris remembers that too.
You can do a concentrated beam of chaos. That's not ridiculous. It's basically Scarlet Witch, right?
Comic book Scarlet Witch, yes.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Not the movie version where she's just a generic telekinetic. In fact, I think she's just Jean Grey. I think in the movies,
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch is just Jean Grey.
No, she's Jean Grey with red shit.
Well, that's just Phoenix.
No, she's not Phoenix. She's not that powerful. She
No,
should fucking be though.
She should be that powerful.
Yeah. Well, she should be more powerful.
I guess it would be a liquid that was like highly susceptible to like vocal commands. So basically, upon like opening the vial, like ordering the chaotic effect, and then upon use, whether that's like tossing or drinking or whatever, then doing that effect.
You want to make a liquid that will follow your commands when you pour it. So you can tell it where to flow.
I mean, yeah, or like what effects that I'm looking for, like basically something that's like unstable to the point that it's like easily influenced.
Oh, you're trying to make a potion where you can decide what the potion is after you make it? Yeah, alchemy has not yet reached that point. You want a potion that's wish. I mean, that's an 10 dice.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, I never had any, like, I'm never gonna summon a meteor, some shit like that. But yeah,
Just
I don't know, it's hard. It's just like a random effect.
Yep, just one random effect. One effect.
Oh.
Or
Polymorph.
you currently have a blank D100 table, and you're going to fill in the first of those effects.
Okay, polymorph chicken.
Okay. So that is this basically it's touch target? So you have to get the potion on them. I guess it could be thrown.
Yeah.
Or you can trick them into drinking it. It's basically a fourth circle ability, right?
I have no idea.
It's debilitating, but not lethal.
Unless you stab the chicken.
If we do the 5e version, I'd say that is a success on 4 dice. So you've developed a recipe to make polymorph chicken.
Nice.
Next, you're going to need the ingredients for it. So while you're thinking about the ingredients, let's go back to Tice. Tice, you got 2 successes?
Yep.
Okay. The vendor is willing to trade the cloak for a bottle of River Oceanus water. Well, you're reasonably certain it's not a perfectly fair trade. Yeah. He senses that she is in dire straits and very much needs it. His explanation is that while it will not cure the injuries, it will put out the fire, preventing any further injury from occurring.
But of course,
once the fire is put out, the injuries will remain until they are exposed directly to the ice of Jotunheim. The ice of Jotunheim must be rubbed directly onto the site of the original injuries, and only then can the limbs be grown back and restored. Of course, Ice of Jotunheim is out of stock at the moment, at least at his stall. But he's certain that if you have more to trade, he could maybe arrange for one of his companions along the street to bring some over.
it's not much of items that we have, but I can, I do can offer up a trade. I'll pull out my book of my. I always keep forget what I named it. It's a book of something. Oh, my book of contracts. I'm usually me and some others usually are good for hire. You know, possibly we could find a way of that of services provided could pay for the ice of blah blah blah. I am a man.
He looks you over down and goes, "You're a bit green to be doing adventuring work, aren't you?" I mean, maybe if there was like a whole crew of you willing to sign, but just the one?
I'll turn it. Can you go get the others?
I'm sorry, what do we need?
So, he has a magical book. And if you sign a contract in this book, you'll be placed under a guise and required to complete the contract. What he is suggesting is that you guys all sign a contract saying that you'll do an adventure for this merchant, which will probably involve fetching some rare ingredient somewhere. And in exchange for this future adventure that you'll go on, the merchant will give you the Ice of Jotunheim now. Mara does not strictly need the Ice of Jotunheim for her friend to survive. She just needs the water of River Oceanus, which she has.
But this is for instead of having to come back here and buying it again, like it kills two birds. Plus, we could potentially use whatever it is to find out more information wherever we're sent.
How much does it cost? Is that the only cost on the table? Signing the book?
That's the only cost that he produced, but this is a merchant, and the merchant will accept all manner of things, as long as they're valuable.
Okay, what are you guys rolling on? Can I do a resources roll and reach my pocket?
Yes, you can.
All right, what are you guys rolling on?
We're rolling in
Just so-
session.
Run in session. Syntax is /R and then something D.
I think it's /R.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so if I got resources of 4, I roll. What am I doing?
/R space D4. And that will roll 4 dice.
Okay, so that's not what you guys are rolling. Because I just did that in chat.
You go to Kapal.
Yeah, there's a channel in pen and paper under Talus, and then flip your slot.
There should be one called Session, I think.
Yeah, Session's the one that everyone has been told to ignore, so you don't hear dice rolls constantly.
Yeah, and Session is also the one that I have a separate window for. It's part of the recording, so the results will show up in the recording. All right, so you pull two gold crowns out of your pocket. You're not entirely sure where they came from. You may or may not even care.
And what's on this guy? What are we buying?
He says that he has a companion at one of the other stalls that can sell ice from Jotunheim.
Nice. Put those on the table. I'd like your finest Jotunheim ice.
He eyes the coins. Like, I mean, they're pretty good. All right, you did overpay me a bit with the cloak. I'll take the offer. And he basically leans over to the next cart over and like hands the guy some gold and gets a vial of the ice and hands it to you. So you now have everything needed to basically bring this guy back to full health. The trick is he is on the prime material plane that is guarded by demons. Mara is looking like kind of overjoyed, like we might actually do this. But with hours to go, how you will get there is a pretty substantial challenge. Now, you are in the market, and in the market, if you can find a food stall, there's a very good chance you can find a way to Ysgard. Or to Yggdrasil, specifically. Planers would know this.
I've never been to Yggdrasil, so I mean it would be useful.
Didn't you go that one time? To get to the prime material plane?
Did I go through? Oh yeah, I guess I did through the Rush Tusk, I suppose. I'm still somewhat unclear as to how I exactly got to the prime, but interesting place, Yggdrasil. Another planar pathway, and I have several additional notes that I would take there.
Following the smell of cooked apples, you do come to a stall run by squirrel people that are selling apples, apple pie, and all manner of apple products. They also have, in some very, very carefully curated glass cases, what look like fresh, ripe, juicy pears. But these have very high price tags on them, and they're kept elevated and in secure positions. The Ratasks speak very quickly, but you gather that they are communicating they've learned that there's a huge market for their apples. Some adventurers a while ago made some deals with them, and while those adventurers are now long gone, the appetite the city has for their delicious apples remains. Ed, go ahead and make a connections check. See if you can find
Sure.
the Ratask. The one that you had made deals with. Nope. Obviously his family's here, but they all look like squirrels. These are like 3-foot tall squirrels. I mean, you guys come from a place with talking raccoons, so that's not like completely out of bounds.
I looked for a squirrel. I found one.
Okay. You found a squirrel that is eager to talk.
Hello, we're trying to get to Idris. Where are we going?
Yeah, Yggdrasil, the world's tree.
Idrisil.
Says, oh yeah, came from there. Got a cousin that runs the branches.
Can you help us get there? We greatly appreciate it.
And Chitters looks back forward and says, gotta be a price course.
Of course.
Can't just be letting somebody, it's not a customer, just use our door. Care for an apple pie?
As Belial slowly slides from behind him, holding the book of, I hear you would like to do some deals.
Oh yeah, here to sell. Sell apples, apple pies, apple cobbler, candied apples, apple sauce, if you ain't got your teeth yet. He looks you up and down. He has no idea what age you are.
Do you have apple cider?
He turns slowly, dramatically, like all the heads turn towards this huge stack of barrels. Yes. Yes, we do.
Does it have bubbles?
Indeed, as he pours a frothy mug and lets you have a sample.
That's too bad.
Not a fan of the bubble?
No.
That's a shame. Puts hair on the hairs on your chest.
So we have let's see here is we need to get to Yggdrasil, and you need to get customers. There's a way we could somehow work this the same way, potentially increasing your customer intake while getting us to Yggdrasil. Do you think there could be a fair trade between those two ideas?
Seems fair, seems fair. He seems a bit lost in his booze at the moment.
Maybe do you have any cards or anything? So maybe we can offer some samples or something along the way, and convince them when they come meet to the Great Bazaar, they come visit your stall. Then you get many sales.
One of the other Ratask comes up and chitters something at him in a language that you guys don't understand. He chitters back. The guy just grabs the mug of cider out of his hand and walks back chittering. He goes, I have to put up these flyers. Sorry, I have to go put up these flyers.
How about we put up those flyers for you in exchange for travel to Yggdrasil?
Oh yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. Keep an eye out for my cousin while you're there. He hasn't been back in a while.
So do we have an agreement then?
He hands you a bunch of flyers. Says, I need wood to make the portal. At this moment, a cart with a familiar-looking bag slumped over it rolls down, comes to a halt, and the squirrel reaches out and begins twisting with magic the wood of the cart into an archway. A portal flares open in the arch, and the bag falls through the portal.
I hop in
As
with the
intended.
flyers.
He says, as you hop through, he says, wait, the flyers are supposed to go around this city! And then the portal closes. And you guys find yourselves standing on a branch the size of a major street of a tree that extends in all directions, all around you. For miles and miles, you see nothing but trees with branching branches, leaves the size of buildings. The whole area is a massive canopy of just green and brown and golden light. Far, far below you, you see dark roots intertwining into deep pools. This tree must stand like hundreds of miles high based on what you're seeing around you. And the branch you're on is so wide as you have, like, you can walk across it as you would walk on a road, just traveling. There's no climbing really happening. It's so massive is the scale. There are tracks in the bark showing a route that a cart seems to take quite regularly from this place going up the branch a bit.
I kind of just hop out of the bag and I'm like, has anybody seen any chickens around here?
Sorry, just squirrels.
No, but from right here, where we're going to appear in, there's going to be a lot of chickens.
All right.
All right. So proceeding up the road, you guys come around a bend in which some leaves were hiding a village that is on fire. It looks like it was on fire for a while. It's mostly smoldering ruins at this point. The tree, the area around the branch is scarred badly. Yeah, the buildings are mostly burned. Some look like they were just shattered by shock waves. It is a battle site. Resting in the middle of the site are a series of pikes, and there are some people there's some corpses of people mounted on the pikes. One of the corpses is a squirrel person. There's a Ratask mounted on a spike in the middle of the city. Or little town, actually. It's not really a city. It's like a very, very minor village. All the people in pikes are arrayed in a circle around an archway. The planers, you guys can see that this archway does have a portal in it. The portal is not currently active.
Let me guess. This is the the devil infested world.
The spears do appear to be green steel of demonic make. They also appear to be very firmly wedged in and not designed to come out easily.
And does that squirrel look familiar to anyone? I'm asking.
Tal al-Sabil, the squirrel, looks familiar to you.
Ah, my squirrel friend, I say. It is good to see you again.
The corpse does not respond.
I will shake its hand anyway and pull out my notebook, open it up to the section on the squirrel, and write, found squirrel dead. End section. I will file that in my filing cabinet when I get back. Does it look like I can kind of investigate what or just see what this battle was?
Yeah, make an investigation plus. I guess this would be cunning, kind of, or focus.
You said there were
or
other
perception.
Corpses.
Sorry, what was that?
You said there's other corpses?
Yes. There are a variety of humanoid corpses around the squirrel.
I'm just not doing great today. I have concluded that something came in here and lit things on fire. Several people died as a result. I make note of that in my notebook.
Would you like me to aid you?
Well, if you have any sort of idea about what might have happened here.
Yes, he'll kneel down at the bodies, like check to see like what kind of scarring and stuff it had. Just like sort of do the mental map of where everything is and sort of like slowly like think about it and like put like as if he's like trying to think of like reverse time, so to speak. Like as you see in movies where like it reverses time and you can see like certain points of it. He's just like mapping out like, well, the way that this body is trajectored or stabbed, that means he should have been standing at this spot. But clearly, these drag marks here, that means he was drugged. And you see these areas around here means that there was an explosion on the other side, which caused the initial fire.
Okay, Sherlock, make your investigation plus your cunning roll. Hey, there you go. Yeah, so one of the first things you notice when you're examining the corpses is that most of them are trying to heal. You see their flesh is continuously regenerating, and then something in the spear that's got them mounted is stopping it and burning it back again. It looks like these people were living here, most likely petitioners, and they were mounted on spears as a sort of punishment of some sort. Spears are definitely demonic. The fire seems to be also demonic, but the realm's natural tendency towards the preservation of the tree has prevented the demonic fire from spreading.
Are the spears on fire? And are the corpses on fire?
No, neither corpses nor spears are on fire here. You do hear a sound of many boots from a bit of a distance down the path you just came.
Fights happen a lot in Yisgard. It's kind of what they do. So it's interesting to me that there was a fight here. The fact that everything's on fire, though, and that there are dead squirrel people, and the sound of boots reminds me very much of the place that we just left.
Indeed, and though your memory is quite foggy, your note-taking is really clear that this was part of your route that the squirrel person took you through on your original journey to find the back door to the artist's house.
And where this portal originally lead you to? You said it was the tree on the primer plane.
The place with the raccoons. I believe it connects because there's a. I don't really understand it very much. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. But there's some sort of an idea here that the way to accumulate wealth is to give things away to people. There's a whole weird sect that follows this entire thing. Quite strange. But it seems like maybe the raccoons were similar. Similar enough to have a connection.
The approaching boots now are coming into view, and attached to them are feet, ankles, knees, in fact, entire people who are wearing the boots. They are dressed, it looks like, for war, and they do appear to be from Yisgard. Many of them have dramatic animal heads for adorning their helmets, but they are, yeah, it's basically a band of Vikings, but they're kind of marching together as a unit.
You said there was a portal that we could see?
There is an unopened portal, yes.
So we can't see anything through it.
Correct. And you don't know what the key is.
Do you remember how the squirrel opened it?
I mean, you've been reading those notes.
You note how secretive the squirrel was about it, but if your notes are good enough, maybe you know something about it. You also might be able to intuit the answer, as it's something of a belief puzzle, as most portals are, or you have your portal pick.
Does the squirrel have pockets?
Yes.
Search its pockets.
You acquire miscellaneous squirrel things.
Start putting them through the portal.
You put them into the portal, but the portal does not open.
I recall. Did he pull an apple out?
An apple, an acorn, a stick. It looks like a leg from a chicken.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'd be aware of the other stuff. Can I attempt to like eat the apple?
Wait, you want me to eat that?
Yeah, you should try eating the apple.
Okay, eat the apple.
You gain sort of a temporary. It's like a future sense, like the Jedi. Like you can see kind of 1 second in the future.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy and interesting.
Well, we'll try to figure out. And I'll just sort of start walking towards the Asgardians, just like hello there.
Greetings. Not here for you. Here to fight the demons.
Well, as it turns out, we're here to find the demons. So perhaps we could be good friends.
All right. What's your business here?
I would let our I'm just following. I would let our prime friends explain.
They're eyeing the carnage and getting progressively angrier.
We have a couple of primes here, and you know how primes are. But actually, you might actually like these guys. Their planet was invaded by a bunch of demons. Some of their friends were captured. One of their friends is basically dying right now. They bought a cure from the Great Bazaar, having no idea what the hell's going on with anything, and now they're eager to run back into the thronging demon hordes to save their friend.
Ah, yeah. Prime's good and brave.
Yeah.
Where's the tusk? From the back of their lines, a Ratosk in very similar gear to them, but lighter, comes up and looks at the Ratosk on the pike. He takes him down very gently and begins performing funeral rites on it. These guardians begin taking the other people down, but as they pull them off the pikes, you see their wounds closing, and they start kind of getting up.
Oh, good. Now we can have some answers.
Viking laughs. Ha! No answer from them. Petitioners. Kill them, they wake back up. No memory.
And give the squirrel back its stuff.
I pull my notebook out and scratch out my last thing about the about the Ratosk and
the Ratosk is still dead.
Oh, that one didn't get up. Okay.
Yeah, the Ratosk is not a petitioner. He was.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
He was
Well.
actually alive.
Well, the door is still closed to get to the demons and devils. And if you want a greater battle, among that plane currently, there is a pit lord.
There's at least one pit lord, but you know how pit lords are.
Good for glory. Not all me folk can go there. Volunteers! About half of them volunteer, half of them do not. As brave as they are, some of them are aware that dying outside their home plane has bad consequences. But about 50% of them don't seem to care about the consequences and are ready to go charging in. Yeah. The Ratosk, having finished the funeral rites on his friend and thanking you for returning his friend's possessions, does not comment on the bite that was taken out of the apple, and plants it in the ground, covering it in the sort of soft, ashy bark for this section of the tree. Perhaps an apple tree will grow from it. Who knows?
As with most of their invasion forces, there's just a bunch of Spinagons and Erinyes. But there was a pit lord. He was particularly angry about things.
Yeah, the Ratosk finally speaks up, and in its chittering comments that whatever forces they have there, it's a lot stronger than a normal invasion. For them to have taken down his brother was quite a feat. Says, I think the only way we'll be able to strike at them is to have forces both within and without.
Well, the good news is there is forces within, potentially.
Tell me of them. How can I find them? He sort of whispers, says, the plan is all these guys are going to die to create a distraction so I can get in.
Well, I am not that as privy as much. I know that there are several cities now that have massed forces. We expect. We do not know their current predicament as the not Belial. No, I'll just call them devils. Were attacking their cities before we got a little bit interrupted and accidentally fell into one of the inner circles of hell. But there are several cities. There's a city of blood, the city of elves. I know there's some underground city somewhere. I don't know that much about it. Some traveling group of. I'd almost describe them as a bit like the Doom Guard, the traveling Doom Guard. And I think I'm missing one more. Oh yeah, and the where this portal goes to, the talking raccoons that really like trade.
The Ratosk says, this may sound insane, but do you have a map? In the planes, maps are nearly useless because things shift constantly.
I do pull out a map of the stars.
Looks like it was, not useful.
Gestured Mara or whatever. I was like, don't you think you could help? You have a better, I'm sure you have a better lay of the upper land than I do.
Who were you talking to?
What's her name?
Oh, Mara?
Mara.
Okay. So yeah, she says, I don't have a map per se, but I can describe how to get there. If you can bring this water and this ice to the healers of the Druid City, they'll give you refuge. And I'll stay out here so that we can communicate, without and within. Promise me you'll get these to him in time. And so she gives up the healing ingredients to the Ratask, who psychs himself up, and then takes the acorn that his friend had, reaches out, puts it in the portal doesn't activate, and then he lets it go, literally just dropping it, as though he's giving it up. And as it falls from his hand, the portal opens. The key to the portal was to drop something. It actually didn't matter what you dropped. You just had to drop anything.
Threw all that shit for nothing.
The portal flares to life, and on the other side of it, there are row upon row of Spenagon, Nuperbinos, and yeah, there's an Erinyes sort of in the background, wings spread wide, making no attempts to hide its demonic nature. The Vikings charge through and are met by spear and lance and magical fire. The Ratask just becomes invisible and is gone. Before the portal closes, you do see the Vikings die to a man. The ones who stay behind begin singing songs to honor their fallen brethren and pack up to march away, as the somewhat confused petitioners begin looking at the charred houses and talking about how back when they were alive, they built houses in a different way and start planning out how to build the town again. I'm not sure anyone's explained what petitioners are to the primes yet.
Don't know.
I'm only marginally coherent on that myself, as a character.
All right, outer planar natives, such as Max, Tyson, Chris, you guys would be aware that the petitioners are the souls of deceased people who were philosophically aligned with this plane, and so their souls have manifested here for them to live out their afterlife. As long as they remain in this plane, they're basically immortal, but every time they die, their memories get wiped, except for everything they remembered from before they died. Except not always. The rules are different. So Yizgard's kind of an exception. A lot of places, they get no memories at all. They just start blank. This place is a place of traditions and oral histories. So they have memories. Their memories are not always the same every time they're killed. And they're not always necessarily real memories. They're just memories of places where small communities were built, where trade and communication was important, and where strangers were always welcomed in their houses. For those of you from the inner plane of the primes, you have no idea what the hell is going on. But these people had spikes through them an hour ago, and now they're fine.
I'm just examining the spikes. They're like lances, right?
Yeah, they're like lances. The tip is made of a strange green metal, but otherwise they're a basic wooden lance.
This is one of those very strange things, right? So if you're killed in your home plane, then you come back because you're part of the plane or something, which makes total sense to me and is perfectly fine because obviously things can't be created or destroyed. But if you leave your home plane and you're killed, then somehow stuff gets weird. Like, doesn't really make any sense.
So now that we've potentially delivered the cure, it's
Mara sort of looks satisfied and says, "I'm certain he'll be okay. I'll keep checking with the scroll and writing. In the meantime, we should set up a base of operations. Maybe rent a house or something. Somewhere where we have access to all the tools we're going to need to figure out why the demons have invaded and to do what we can to help our people." She's mostly talking to Loken, and she kind of looks at the rest of you guys and says, "And I would very much appreciate whatever help you kind beings are. Well, what are you guys anyway? You're clearly not gods."
oh god, oh yeah, we were definitely not God. Well, not yet, but
Good recovery there.
Oh, well, currently I'm a dwarf.
Oh, actually, you stepped into another reality, so you randomly turned into something else. Just roll a die and pick something.
I am the proud son of a puddle and a lightning spark.
I'm not entirely paying attention to them. I'm attempting to, like, I tested touching the spears, and if my hands didn't burst into flames, I'm trying to pull them
All right. After some struggle, you get one pulled up out of the ground.
out. Okay, that's fine. I really just wanted one.
You can add it to your inventory. It's a lance with a green steel spearhead.
What's an Arcadian paragon?
You have glowing blonde hair, and yeah, you're just in every way you
That's
look
it.
like the perfect Adonis of a man.
Nice.
You're basically every fantasy of every gender combination that is interested in whatever it is you are. Arcadia is the realm of convenience. Everything is just conveniently what you already need it to be. This doesn't make it convenient for you, it makes you convenient for everyone else.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, if you wish to set up a base of operations, we could take a little visit to my faction house. It's a foundry. It's a foundry, right?
Yes.
Where now a foundry is a giant. Basically where crafting of all goods, even ideas, happen, and that is where we can make some deals and find out some more stuff. For there was many people there that graciously wants to improve themselves, like myself.
Uh-oh, Ed, it looks like a member of the party is trying to recruit the primes to his faction.
This faction is okay. I have no problems with this faction.
That's true, they are pretty friendly with you.
It's the other two, but luckily those guys don't really recruit well.
Yeah, and if you and you potentially, if you get to liking you, I am a believer of the source. Yeah. Yes, I'm a believer of the source, where we believe that each of us is a god in their outright, which is true. You do not know it, but there is a god inside of you.
Mara says, I need to study the lay of the land before I make a faction affiliation. I need to be careful with whom I ally to make sure I'm doing what's best for my world. I appreciate the offer, and I do want to hear you out as to what your faction is, but I do need to learn about all of them before I can make an informed decision.
That is the correct path. I believe, and I fully support you in that.
You're almost sounding like our Ganassi buddy there.
One can only make good decisions by having all of the information.
She is a scholar.
When I came to the Outer Planes, I was very confused, as I'm sure you are. Things worked in funny ways, and what you believed mattered at all, which is very strange. Not just what you're made of. Very confusing, but then I started looking into things and realized that it wasn't quite as chaotic as I thought it was. There was a lot of order to things. Things worked out relatively well, and my goals have been to figure out how things work, which is the role of my faction. The Believers of the Source are a noble faction as well. Not everyone's cut out to be a researcher.
Meanwhile, back on the Prime world, deep in the secure caverns of Lome Firma, the leaders of the surviving nations are gathered. Word has arrived that a messenger from beyond the plains has successfully brought healing supplies to get the wounded druid back up on his feet. But even stranger still are the messages being written into the book that the druid that went away has been writing. Tales of ridiculous cities, trees the size of mountain ranges, and if any of it can be believed as true, and the Ratask seems to reinforce this idea that it is, just by his being there with the cure that was needed, then it may well be that there's a chance, if you can direct them, that you may be able to use this party to create some counterbalance to save your world from this demonic invasion. The demons are taking their time. They are enchanting their soldiers to make them fireproof against your weapons. They're doing it slowly, carefully, so that they don't have an opportunity for a single brave man to get a lucky shot to end things. On the one hand, that's really bad, because then it means there's no opportunity for a single brave man to get a lucky shot to end things. But on the other, it does mean you have some amount of time. And if that time can be used well, and if your away team that has entered into this weird, bizarre reality can find the tools it needs and the information it needs to help you, there may be a way yet. And I think that's about where we're going to wrap up today. I know we didn't get to do as many exciting things for everyone. This was a lot of exposition drop and set up for the broader scope of the story. But if you guys want to hand out some experience points to each other, feel free.
Okay, I'd like to give one to Max for basically just following him through the portal and just coming out of the bag and be like, "So, does anyone got chickens?" I like to give one to Kite for really is his like. I just like to imagine like the elf girl is just like all existential, and he's just like looking over and he's like what's her problem? He's just sipping his tea. He's like, for some reason, for someone that's like really out of his element, he's taking it a lot more calm and maintaining himself. I like to give one to the Ganassi for just being a good tour, a good a tourist guide. He really did help get the people around and like help the primers. I'm more of a books person than like this social sort of thing. And I like to give one to our brand new person for basically trying to set up a line for free food.
Targ.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, for our new guy, for being one of the first people to willingly just take a potion from me and then drink it. Most people don't do that. For Echelon, for being the tour guide and explaining to Vikings and stuff that we didn't kill nobody and we're just kind of trying to adventure. Uh, let's see, Tice for trying to always find like diplomatic ways of like researching things. And Kite, yeah, Kite. Yeah, for uh, just just showing like almost no remorse for that lady. Just what's going on? All right, I think it's everybody.
Yeah, I'll go. So, yeah, to Max for wandering off, and but then just kind of being back when the party. I kind of expect you to just disappear and reappear constantly. That's my understanding of cast decks. I'm going to try and figure out what the pattern. But Max for wandering off, and then Chris for just wandering in. Like that was probably the easiest addition to a party ever. You're just like, I'm here. It's free food. And you're like, I'm just gonna sit down and start eating this food. And then like we started to leave. It's like we're going on a quest or something. You're just like, I'm with these guys. That is super chaos detecty. Um, Troy, like Ty said, for you're taking things in stride. You're like, this is a city and it wraps around in itself, and there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense. And you're just like, yeah, all right, so here we are. This is where we are. I think we're just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. And then Tice for putting in the good advertisement for trying to recruit. That's a very outer planar thing to do.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, Max definitely for just leaving and going trying to figure stuff out, and then ended up having your own little side quest scenario, and starting to work on whatever new potions that you're working. Tice for yet another attempt at getting your whatever this book you have signed, like your first opportunity to do so. You try to get another signature. Ed for taking great notes, including the squirrel is dead, and closing out your sessions. That's fantastic. And then yeah, Chris for just immediately taking my food and picking dead things pockets and just no filter. It's great.
Okay. Max, I enjoyed your awkward conversation with that chaos attack. Um, Ed, for your dedication to your character. I know you know a lot more, but you're keeping in your character and only sticking true to what that character would know. Troy, for your systematic testing of the spear before you acquired it. Thought that was fun. And Tice, I really liked your like discreet plug for your fact.
All right, I think, is that everybody?
Yeah.
So, by my count, each of you gained 4 experience points. Good job. And we will pick this up again next week. Chris, thank you for joining us. If you can make it next week, we can keep on rolling.
Cool.
Also, plenty of reasons a Chaos Attack would not be around. As
Plenty
proven by
of
this one episode.
Oh, and Max, congratulations for not having your power go out during this episode.
Yeah, I mean it's raining, but the seems the lightning is like let up because that was causing like the spikes. But I haven't heard anything like in a while.
Yeah. And yay, because now we're up to 15 experience. I've now picked up Crime 4, and I now got the talent I Know a Guy. That should help me.
Nice. All right, guys. I will see you next time.
Later.
Yep.